Hello again. This is Will Luden, your host with Revolution 2.0, a revolution of the heart. Bring you today's episode, which is the 7% Supreme Court Justice. And together, we are at episode 386. President Biden promised that he would pick his VP candidate from a pool of only black females. From that pool representing 7% of the United States, he chose Kamala Harris. That same thinking that gave us Miss Harris as the Vice President of the United States is going to lead to the very next Supreme Court lifetime appointee justice on the Supreme Court of the United States of America. With the 2020 nomination slipping through his fingers, Biden made a political deal with the powerful Jim Clyburn, Democrat, South Carolina, and the House Majority Whip. And here's the deal. Hey, Jim, you want a black woman on the Supreme Court. I want to be the president. I'll promise to nominate a black woman. You deliver South Carolina, which will likely save my failing candidacy. They made the deal, and the rest is political backroom history. In the tradition of former mayor and Chicago political boss Richard J. Daley, President Biden is now paying off a political debt by fulfilling his promise to the powerful Jim Clyburn. Richard J. Daley held political office in Illinois for 38 years, including 24 years as the mayor of Chicago. His son, Richard M. Daley, held office in Illinois for 39 years, including 22 as mayor of Chicago. You don't create a dynasty like that without making and paying off lots of political deals. That's exactly what then candidate Biden set in motion when he rescued his failing presidential campaign by making that deal with the very powerful Jim Clyburn. Going into the SC primary, Biden was trailing Bernie Sanders badly. Many pundits had written him off. After making the deal, Clyburn delivered South Carolina. And as I said, the rest is political deal-making history. More specifically, Clyburn wanted and still wants U.S. District Judge J. Michelle Childs on the court. Guess who is on President Biden's shortlist for the nomination? And far beyond just the stench of a deal promising a nomination to the Supreme Court of the United States in exchange for turning around a failing presidential campaign is just how deeply wrong Biden is in citing race and gender as his primary criteria. Why on earth would the president restrict the pool of candidates to just 7% of the population? Is that the way you get the best candidate? No, but that's not what Biden wants. First thing Biden wants to do is pay off a political debt. Secondly, he wants to appeal to blacks and people who consider race to be a qualification. He wants to appeal to them not by making anybody's lives better, not by improving economics, not by increasing jobs that are available to those minorities, but simply appealing on the basis of race. And he's also pandering to the affirmative action set. You know, the people who believe that two wrongs, in this case two evils, can make a right. And that's not how it works. The second wrong, the second evil, doesn't fix the first one. It simply extends the wrongness. It extends the evil. That's how it works. Affirmative action. And by any definition, this is an affirmative action nomination. You can't say I'm only going to nominate a black female and deny that it's an affirmative action nomination. And affirmative action at its core, the only way it can be even marginally rationally supported is by substituting qualification qualified for best qualified. Affirmative action, anybody who is supporting this nomination or affirmative action policies in general always promise things like how many qualified candidates their process surfaces. How many times have we heard, and how many times will we continue hearing, don't tell me you can't find black women who are qualified to be Supreme Court justices. If you're hiring for Wendy's, where the job is repetitive and the applicants are scarce, merely qualified is a suitable criterion. In most cases, we need to be looking for the best qualified candidate. The best qualified. Here's a short representative list where merely qualified does not cut it, and best qualified must be the standard. Sports, from high school to the pros. Obviously, the best qualified play the game. It's a competitive game. It's win or lose. Leaders in business and government. Engineers designing aircraft or spacecraft. I tell you what, I want the best qualified engineers and the best qualified people designing and putting together any aircraft that I'm on, traveling at 550 miles an hour at 36,000 feet. Lawyers defending the innocent. Prosecutors trying the guilty. Cops in tense situations. Surgeons in any operation that is not completely routine. Remember, we're talking about positions where we want the best qualified. Doctors when you need key advice. Uber drivers in bad weather. EMTs in life and death situations. Judges in anything other than traffic court. And Supreme Court justices. A short representative list. I'll bet you've got some. So add some positions, professions, and so on in the comments where you believe that best qualified is the necessary criterion as opposed to merely qualified. Here's a bit of history adding hypocrisy to the wrongness of what Biden is promising with this nomination. Number one, Biden voted against Clarence Thomas, only the second black to serve on the Supreme Court. In addition, Biden threatened a filibuster. Yes, a filibuster. And right now he's running around talking about how anti-democratic and how dangerous to our democracy filibustering is. Biden threatened a filibuster to defeat the nomination of a well-qualified candidate for justice, a black female by the name of Janice Roberts Brown. And I'll read a little bit directly about her qualifications. Janice Roberts Brown is an American jurist. She served as a United States Circuit Court Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia from 2005 to 2017. And before that, she was an Associate Justice on the California Supreme Court from 1996 to 2005. During the summer of 2005, a month into Brown's tenure in the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, she was considered as a possible Supreme Court nominee to replace Sandra Day O'Connor. But Samuel Alito was chosen instead. If chosen, almost 20 years ago, Brown would have been the first black woman nominated to the Supreme Court. Senator Joe Biden stated that if Bush chose Brown to replace O'Connor, the Democrats would filibuster her nomination, stating that the Supreme Court judges, unlike Supreme Court justices, don't get to make new law. Oh, the irony of a Democratic politician decrying justices that write law from the bench. And it gets worse. Let's hear from Biden's former White House partner then in the Senate. Freshman Senator Barack Obama strongly opposed Judge Brown's nomination in a speech on the floor of the U.S. Senate, characterizing her judicial activism as social Darwinism. I looked it up. I don't know what social Darwinism is, but apparently it's a bad thing, bad enough to filibuster, fight against the nomination of a black female to the Supreme Court. Yet we're being told after 250 years it is time for a black woman to be on the court, implying that Democrats want that. But almost 20 years ago, a Republican president wanted that. Biden is determined to nominate a justice representing 7% of the population. And that tiny percentage is not made up of applicable categories like law clerks, successful constitutional lawyers, appellate judges, and so on, just race and gender. Let's hear directly from the president. Our process is going to be vigorous. I will select a nominee worthy of Justice Breyer's legacy of excellence and decency. At most, his process will find the best candidate from 1/14 of the population. And what will be the logical next step, or next steps after this affirmative action nomination? If the attempt is to make SCOTUS look like America, we'd need this slot to be reserved for black females, another slot for black males, a slot each for Jews and Christians, one for other males of color, other females of color, gays, straights, and if no one fusses, a slot for white males. Add transgenders, and the list could go on and on. We'd need to pack the court to about the size of an Antifa street protest, and both groups would look silly. We know this. We need the best candidate from all 330 million of us. We need a jurist with a deep and abiding respect for the Constitution and a commitment to interpreting the law, not writing new law. This is a judicial appointment, not a political appointment. We don't need a new political party boss, and this is not an opportunity to express personal opinions from the bench. And unlike opinion polls and other research, social gatherings, or the fair and broad application of laws and social benefits, diversity for the sake of diversity has no place here. I'm going to invite the late Justice Antonin Scalia to underscore this point. And this is so key. The judge who always likes the results he reaches is a bad judge. The judge who always likes the results he reaches is a bad judge. This was Antonin Scalia telling us in a clear and unambiguous way that a judge or a Supreme Court justice must apply the law, the Constitution, and that his or her personal beliefs have no place in the decisions. No place in the decisions. We all have the personal responsibility to want and work for a country where merit, equal responsibility, supported by justice, and tempered by mercy are part of our core beliefs, part of our core commitment. And speaking of personal responsibility, it does not stand alone. Personal responsibility does not stand alone. The two basic tenets behind Revolution 2.0 are, number one, personal responsibility. Take it, teach it, and two, be your brother's keeper. The answer to the age-old question, am I my brother's keeper, is an absolute unequivocal yes. So where do you stand? And what are you going to do? Remember, it doesn't matter where you stand if you're not going to do anything. And you can take positive, effective action today by subscribing, encouraging others to subscribe with you. And if you're enjoying this on YouTube, ring that bell so you'll be notified of new episodes, and give us a like. As always, you know how we close this because it's so important. As always, whatever you do, do it in love. Without love, anything we do is empty. This is Will Luden. We'll talk again next time.
You've been listening to Revolution 2.0. If you've enjoyed this stimulating, passionate, and relentless reasoning, we encourage you to get out there and do something. Follow Will Luden and learn more at revolution2-0.org.